Alright, well, this is the maiden flight of the E-Flite Timber. Let's do a pre-flight check here. We're going to use the my old temporary plastic runway just because I don't know exactly how well this thing's going to do in grass. So I thought this would be a great first step. So we'll try this out, and then we'll try a grass one after this. So let's go through and do a pre-flight. The winds are a little bit light and variable. I just had moved the runway to south-southeast, and now it looks like my little flag is actually pointing to a little bit of a crosswind. So let's go ahead and give a pre-flight check here. Right aileron, left aileron, elevator up, elevator down, rudder right, rudder left. Okay, let's do a engine run up. Alright, engine run up is good. Let's do a flap check. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Alright, I think we're going to do a takeoff flap takeoff here today. We'll see how it does. Definitely, tell you what, you have years of flying experience and dozens of maidens. There's nothing scarier than your first maiden flight though. And this one's no different. So, let's go ahead and give a little up elevator, and let's see how she does. Wow! Alright, there's a lot of authority with the control surfaces. I'm going to have to tone those down a little bit. That took me by surprise. I have about 30% expo in them right now, and I think I'm going to up that just a little bit. I knew that these, the control surfaces are pretty large, so I had to probably need a little bit more expo than that. Okay, flaps are up now. And we're flying without Safe Select on. I didn't even bother to activate it. So we're just flying with normal AS3X. Winds are about 5 miles per hour. We're just going to do some light pattern flying here. This is probably one of the most powerful aircraft I have in inventory right now. It also produces quite a bit more lift than any of my warbirds, so it's just take a little bit to get used to here. Still a little shaky on the sticks. Of course, a maiden flight and drinking a large cup of coffee beforehand will definitely make you a little twitchy. For the most part, it's kind of a fun little plane to fly. It's pretty easy. Got to make sure I don't pass over into the rising sun there. I don't want to blind myself or backlight the aircraft. Yeah, not too bad. It's nice, easy flying. Very, very, very light inputs on the sticks though. I'm on 100% high rates. I usually typically don't use low rates anymore. I pretty much just leave it on high rates. That way I have all the throws and everything if I need it. Winds are kicking up just a little bit. I can feel them from south-southeast here starting to pick up. Definitely a lot slower flying aircraft than I'm used to, than my Corsair P-47, and I kind of like that. In some regards, it kind of reminds me of my old Apprentice, which I really love that airplane. It's almost like a tail dragger Apprentice with flaps. Definitely much more powerful than the old Super Cub that I learned on, which was a really great aircraft. But the Apprentice was always one of my favorites. I always really loved the Apprentice. And yeah, I would say this kind of reminds me of the Apprentice. Both equally difficult to transport, that's for sure. Took me a little creativity to get it inside the Fiesta last night. It's not necessarily the biggest car, and this is a pretty good sized airplane. How in the world I'm ever going to transport my B-17s, I have no idea yet. We'll figure that day out later. Alright, at this point I'm going to try to figure out how to get this thing to come down. Whoop. Wow, even takeoff flaps really slow the airplane down here, so that's good. Let's slow her down here, figure out how to get her down. Not too bad, not too bad. All right, 39 seconds left. I can tell you one problem was the GoPro there. When I had to go look up, the GoPro almost fell off my head. So let's see if we can go ahead and taxi her back here on the grass. Well, it looks like it. Nope, we're done. Luckily I cut the power just as it started to nose over. As you can see, even with these gigantic tires on here, maneuvering in the grass is just, it's not great. I've yet to find anything that will work in the soccer field, and this is actually very well groomed right now. But yeah, not enough to work for the timber. So me flying off grass is almost an impossibility, it seems. So I don't know if I will risk it on this surface or not, but I think we're going to go back and we're going to go ahead and swap the batteries out, and let's do a couple more flights on it. Overall, the Timber is a pretty good flying airplane. It's still a little nervous, but I'm sure I'll quickly get used to the airplane and really start to enjoy it. So that's it for the maiden of the E-Flite Timber Bind and Fly 1.5 meter.